Good evening, Broncos country, and welcome to another episode of Couch Potato Sports, Denver Broncos edition. How we doing tonight? How we doing?
Oh, we feel good, baby. We feel good, baby.
No, Jimmy, thanks for coming on tonight. We're missing Anthony and Kenny tonight. They had some things come up, life gets in the way sometimes. But glad to have you with me, Jimmy. So,
Miss you, boys.
I think we're gonna get into the game last Sunday. I think a lot of us left that game with a lot of emotions, raw emotions, and I'm here to talk people off the bridge, essentially. I have some optimistic point of views that we'll go over. And then, of course, we'll get into this week against the Dolphins. It's an 11 o'clock game. It's on the East Coast in Miami. Historically, like we've talked about in these podcasts before, the Broncos just do not do well historically, even when they were good with Peyton Manning or John Elway. Historically, going over to the East Coast, playing those 11 o'clock games, that's been their kryptonite, their Achilles heel. So we'll get into that a little bit, and then, maybe talk a little bit about CU. Who knows? They deserve it.
Let's go.
So
what a game.
But before we start off, Jimmy, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic tonight, man. Excuse me. Beautiful Thursday. We've got some football on.
Mm-hmm.
Can't complain, brother. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Yeah, I have Christian McCaffrey playing in my fantasy football league tonight. So far he's doing.
How many points he got for you?
What's that?
What's he got for you so far?
Last I checked, he had 17 for me because he had just scored that touchdown. So far so good. He's easily the best player on my team. I did not draft well this year at all. It was just one of those years. I don't know if you have those in fantasy, or for those that are watching, you just have one of those years where it's already unknown to begin with in the season, but you just get in that weird spot. And I think drafting second or third has to be, minus the first round, has to be one of the worst positions to be in my opinion, because
right,
everyone's just gone, and then you when you start the realm of getting into the rounds of drafting a quarterback, you want to be proactive a little bit, but you don't want to be too early. So, I ended up taking Joe Burrow and so far Joe Burrow has not been that great. So, but I have Tua. You have Tua also, and
there you go.
But anyways, get into that game last week. I was at the game, so I had to go back. And for those that have experienced the Broncos game or just any NFL game in general, when you go and watch the game in person, you really don't get that full experience as far as the game goes when you're watching it at home. So, I was sitting on the south side end zone, and every time the play was on the other side of the field, I was looking up the TV while being distracted by other fans and stuff. So, but I can honestly say I didn't leave there disappointed. Certainly not to the degree of when Jimmy and I went to that Colts game. I did not feel like that at all. Bottom line up front, I do think this offense looks 180 degrees better than last year. Like that Seahawks game, the first game, that was probably their best showing that season. They've already surpassed that, in my opinion, as far as like an entire offense goes. So, but we'll get in the weeds with that here in a second. But I left that game not feeling too discouraged. In fact, I did have the Broncos going 0-3 before the season started, and I was pretty steadfast in that. I did get a little bit of optimism, and I picked the Broncos to beat the Commanders, but I wasn't too far off. If the game was only 2 quarters long, the Broncos would have dismantled the Commanders, So obviously a problem that we're developing is the second half football team. Is we get too complacent, we're undisciplined, all this stuff. And all of that stuff can be coached, which is good. Like having a coach like Sean Payton that has been there, done that, has pulled a losing franchise into a Super Bowl winning team. There's no one else I'd rather have to get us through that hump than Sean Payton. Certainly more than our last few coaches, that's for sure. Which unfortunately, as of now, are on our staff as our defensive coordinator. So, but anyways, overall, I thought it was a good showing. We didn't get the dub, so that's disappointing. But at the end of the day, I'm feeling better about the Broncos than I did at week 1, and certainly better than I did last year about this Broncos team. What are your initial thoughts, Jimmy?
Initial thoughts about this game. Like you said, I was disappointed, of course. We lost the game. I'm never going to be happy about that. I'm never going to feel good about that. But I came away from the game with a lot of optimism. The disappointment was sheerly because of the loss. And that is it. I really liked what I saw, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I think there's a glaring problem with the offensive side of the ball and why we aren't maybe as efficient as we could be. Maybe I don't know, but we're not running the ball enough. I don't know if that's something you've noticed, but I think if you break down the math, we're in the 35, 36, 37% pass to run. Like we're not running the ball nearly enough. That was one really big takeaway from the game. Man, I'm really disappointed with what our defenses look like this year, especially since that's been something that we've been able to really stand on the last 7 years. It's all we've had, and it really seems like, especially when it matters, they're not able to make the stop. And it all starts up front, man, the pass rush. Even though this week I think it looked a lot better than week 1, the pass rush. We saw them get there a couple times. We saw Nick Bonito get a sack. I think Randy Gregory might have got a sack as well. But I don't know. I don't know if we need more stunts, more blitzing, more. We need to get more pressure on quarterbacks and not have so much on our secondary shoulders, especially this week coming up, which we'll get into. But my initial takeaway, though, is definitely optimism. This game and this year so far, I think has looked better than any game since the Peyton Manning era.
Yeah, in a while, to be honest with you. It seems like, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. I do think that the problems that we're having are easily adjustable and coachable, which is a good sign. It's not a glaring problem with players. I still have some feelings about Mathis, but he played a little better this week than he did last week, certainly. I don't know if it's just because they didn't target him as much, they didn't pick on him and stuff like that, but the Commanders have a better wide receiver core for sure than the Raiders. So I thought he did better. He's not where I want him to be, but he did better. But it's just bottom line up front, starting with the defense, we need to stop playing so conservative. And I know that's Vance Joseph's style, is playing the deep zone, bend, don't break kind of coverage. But you broke a lot, so it's not working. It's bending and then snapping into pieces.
The key to that philosophy is having a good pass rush. You have to be able to get to the quarterback.
Right. Which we did 3 times, but it wasn't good enough. So what I think, and to maximize players' talents such as Pat Surtain, you need to play a little bit more press man coverage, and you need to just be more aggressive. I think you need to do a lot more stunts with the defensive line so you don't show your hand when you're going up to the line, because there was plenty of times during that game where Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator of the Commanders, we just kept blitzing, and Eric Bieniemy's like, okay, I'm just going to throw a screen on you, and that wrecked us. absolutely devastated us. I remember rewatching it, the game on Wednesday, and thinking that I'm like, they're just going to throw. They just keep throwing screens on us because we're showing our hand. We're blitzing more than we should, and it's becoming obvious clearly. So, and Eric Bieniemy's like, all right, I'm just going to give what the defense gives me, and I'm just going to do a simple fix to that, and which is throwing a screen, which is unacceptable. You know how I feel about screenplays. It's just there's no reason you should be getting so beat so bad on a screenplay, especially with the athleticism and the talent that you have nowadays coming out of college. I just think the screenplays are becoming a little bit more obsolete every year when you have a good plan of attack. So I definitely think Sean Payton sat down with Vance Joseph and said, hey, this isn't working. We have Patrick Surtain, why is he 8 yards off the wide receiver? Why is he playing so deep? He can handle any wide receiver in this league. So
why isn't he locked into the number one receiver?
Exactly. Let's use him to our advantage. I'm not worried about Pat Surtain. And then on the other side with Mathis, you just throw a safety over there to help him in the certain coverages that you have. I know we lost our nickel option with Caden Stearns, but why not throw out Riley Moss out there? Let's just see what happens, kind of thing. Because the class that we got this year from college is very athletic, and I'd like to see what we have in players like that. I mean, what harm could it do? Your defense isn't working as it is, so you need to change something. So, unfortunately, we will be without Justin Simmons this week, which sucks to hear. I just heard that not too long ago, but
especially this week, that hurts.
Yeah, it hurts a lot because you have to worry about Waddle and Hill. So, so there goes that. So we might see some Riley Moss out there. Well, who knows? We'll see what the kid has. So, but yeah. Play more aggressive. Hone in on the defense that has excelled for this team for 7 years. And Vance Joseph remembers he was the head coach during one of those years. He remembers how this defense plays. So quit underutilizing the talent that you have on your defense. And with the stunts and the undiscoverability that you create with having these blitz packages, you're going to get more pressure on the quarterback. It's going to happen because if you keep the O-line guessing, you keep the quarterback guessing, they're going to get uncomfortable. And I can't help but think back to Wade Phillips and his style of defense. It was amazing just seeing the different stunts. And I know the different stunts and then the different coverages, packages, all that stuff that he had. And he played a lot of man press too. That I remember. That's why the no-fly zone was a thing. So,
and they basically came out in the same formation damn near every play.
Yeah,
and you had no idea what they were doing.
Nope. So why don't we get more into that? Let's have fun with it. Vance Joseph, you've been coaching in this league for so long. You know what it takes to be unique. You know what it takes to put in these different packages. Let's see it happen on Sunday, especially against the Dolphins. Make Tua uncomfortable. It's been proven in the past if you pressure Tua and make him feel uncomfortable, he already has the mental block of injury in his head. I know he did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over the offseason to help him out with his flexibility and endurance, but I know, when a player is injured that much since college, they're going to have that mental block. And I'm not saying we should go out there and injure him. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
I'm just saying you put pressure on him, on the quarterback, and you make him guess on what you're doing and who the Mike is, who the Will is, and who the Sam is. You're going to get in his head. And
absolutely,
that's what you need to do, because the minute that he gets in groove with Waddle or Hill, we're done. Because yeah, Pat Surtain, he's going to be primarily on Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is fast. Cannot let him get behind you. I have the utmost faith with Patrick Surtain that I don't think he would let him. But if you're giving Tua all this time, it's going to burn out. It's going to burn out our secondary. So
yeah, you're going to have I think we're going to have to see some sacrificing of maybe a couple guys in coverage and consistently be sending 5 or 6, at least 4 for sure.
Yeah.
But maybe seeing 5 or 6 fairly consistently and just getting him off his game. I mean, we have to. We don't have nobody, not just us. Nobody has the speed to cover that wide receiver core. I mean, any wide receiver core for a long period of time, but specifically that one.
Yeah.
We're going to need. I mean, I want to see some Drew Sanders out there, man. I need to see more Drew Sanders. Get that long, fast linebacker out there, to cover the middle of the field. I love Josie Jewell and Singleton as much as the next guy, but I mean, neither one of them are as long and or fast as Sanders.
Yeah, get that long, fast, girthy linebacker out there, You know what I'm saying?
We love girth, baby.
Yeah, we got that girth certificate around here. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, that's the biggest thing for our defense. It was frustrating to see that. First half, the defense looked really good. And I think that going into the offense, I think the big turning point of that game was the Russ fumble. But, man, I watched that play 4 times. I don't think that was a fumble. His elbow and his knee were down, and as he rolled up, he put the ball on the ground and got up to go to the huddle.
I completely agree.
I know we can't change the outcome of the game, and I'm not blaming the refs for this. I'm not saying that. We definitely shot ourselves in the foot a lot. But there were 4 times in that game where they were crucial moments in that game where they were missed calls. And I rewatched those 4 things.
Specifically the last play.
The last play. Everybody knows about the last play, so that's obvious. The fumble on Russ, I don't think that was a fumble. If your knee and elbow are both on the ground and he puts the ball on the ground and then goes back to the huddle, is making the motion to go back to the huddle because he was confused, like, what is happening? I put the ball on the ground after I fell, kind of thing. But there was that, the Jerry Jeudy pass, the last drive of the game, where the defensive back had Jerry Judy's hand. Like, it didn't even look like he had another arm. He was using one arm to try and make the play. I don't know if you remember that. It was towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then that interception was not an interception. It was not. Because
back to that play with Jeudy on the arm, dude, that was happening all night.
Yeah.
All night. That could have been called 20 times.
Exactly. And with the interception, he caught the football. He was still trying to maintain control as he fell on the ground. And as soon as he fell on the ground, the ball came out. And they ruled it a fumble recovered by the defense. And we were at the game and we saw that, and everyone was just like, what? And we're looking on it on the brand new screen that they have, which is really nice, by the way. And we're just like, how is that an interception? So not blaming the refs, but there were 4 calls in there that could have really, really helped us out, but that's how every game is. You can't change what's written. I know it's still early in the season and even the refs are still trying to figure it out, their flow, everything, but it really sucks. It really sucked to see that and just like, oh. So, but as far as the offense goes, like obviously the first half, Mims, man, we need to keep doing that. Mims is him.
Yeah.
Mims is him. He just finds open space, and Russ is able to do his 20-yard plus deep shots that he's known for with Marvin Mims. He's like a Tyler Lockett. That's the best way I can explain Marvin Mims is he's like Tyler Lockett. He could be a Tyler Lockett to Russell Wilson. And we all remember the Russell Wilson-Tyler Lockett connection with the Seahawks.
Right.
So,
and you know what I'm starting to notice too is we might see in the red zone specifically, the red zone, we might see a new number 1 out there. Dude, Brandon Johnson might be the number 1 in the red zone.
Dude, Brandon Johnson's a dog. He's got that dog in him.
Dude. Mm-hmm.
And then McLaughlin, he's got that dog in him too. So Jaleel McLaughlin. Okay, getting into the running backs, like you were saying earlier. I think they're being super conservative with Javonte Williams still because of his injury. But
Mm-hmm.
Javonte Williams, like he looked good in week 1. He looked even better in week 2. Javonte Williams and the spice that he plays with and the way he can find open ground and make the move and all that stuff. I think Javonte Williams is, if he's not back, he's 95% there for sure. I love what I've seen out of Javonte Williams. P. Ryan, I like P. Ryan as a solid backup. I saw him I said that last week. And then Jaleel McLaughlin, like, dude has that dog in him too. So Sean Payton has been known to have the run first kind of offense. He's always relied heavily on running backs throughout his tenure in New Orleans. So let's see more of that. You're going to want to see more of that in Miami because you're going to want to keep Tua off the field as much as possible if you have a chance in this game, pretty much. That should be the game.
How many?
Keep the
without looking it up.
What's up?
Without looking it up, how many combined rushes would you say P. Ryan and McLaughlin had last week?
10.
2.
Yeah. I mean,
Total.
McLaughlin with that
one each.
Down. Yeah. So.
And Marvin Mims had 2. Michael Burton had 1. Javonte had 12, and Russ had 6. I mean, Russ should never have the second most carries on the team.
Right.
I don't care how many times he's got to flush the pocket. 6 carries by our quarterback should not be the second most carry. Like the 12 from Javonte, that should be our number 2 running back.
Yeah.
Getting 12 carries.
I agree. I think we're going to see more running in this game. To be honest with you, I think we're going to see more of our running backs in Miami because I just think after watching Javonte Williams this week, I don't know how you're not comfortable with giving him more carries. So,
I mean, I'm going to be real concerned. I'm going to start getting real concerned if we see the same 35-ish% split.
I agree.
After this weekend.
Well, it's not Sean Payton's style, so that's weird. It's different.
And then I need to see adjustments into the second half. We can't come out of second half dull.
Right.
Those are 2 things I need to see this week, or I'm going to start getting pretty concerned unfortunately, about coaching. About what's going on, play calling specifically, not so much coaching, but play calling.
Well, did you hear the interview with Sean Payton talking about how the play calls, I don't know who's to blame here, but they're not getting out because they're really long or they're complicated and stuff like that, how they talked about the wristband coming into play. Whatever helps, man.
So
whatever helps.
Same problem as last year is what they're saying we're having.
Right. It's definitely not as bad, for sure. But
right.
If it takes having a wristband out there for the super complicated plays, who cares? As long
I don't care if you have 2 wristbands, but 1 on each arm.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares, man? If it's not a shot at anyone's pride. If you need to break,
I'm looking at Brock Purdy right now. He's got a wristband on that basically goes from his wrist to his elbow.
Yeah,
that dude is ready to call a play.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
So if that's what it takes, for the paragraph plays that Sean Payton whips up, it's what it takes. Who cares? Broncos country, we don't care if they're using a wristband. We just want to see wins. We don't give a shit, So, anyways, yeah, I'd like to see Russ pass less. I'd like to see, even though he's been doing well, but he excels in the offenses that set up the run game and allows the play action rollout for those deep shots. And that's where Marvin Mims comes to play because Even Jerry Jeudy. I know that was Jerry Judy's first game back, so he was a little slow, getting used to the game again, all that stuff. But when you have wide receivers with a talent like Marvin Mims and Jerry Jeudy, that is perfect for the play action rollout method. So
you need to get both those guys on the same side of the field.
Right. Or have a trips package with
Absolutely.
those, and keep Cortland Sutton or Brandon Johnson on the other side and see if you can take advantage of that deep shot where it's contested space. Because Cortland Sutton, he's not a top 15 wide receiver in the league, but he's pretty good at jumping up and getting those contested catches. He's proven that before. So
what we should be seeing, I think, out of Marvin Mims is what we will see and we've always seen out of Tyreek Hill. That dude is going to catch 4 or 5 just slants, crossers, just getting him the ball in open space. Every game. I mean, Marvin Mims, he should just be running a 3-yard just drag route and get that ball thrown to him at least 3 times a game. Give him an opportunity to break a tackle and break one deep. I almost guarantee one of those he takes 20 yards.
Yeah, you get him in an open field, he's hard to bring down. That's just the type of wide receiver he
is.
Same
with Jeudy. Jeudy should be getting – both of those guys should be getting 3 to 5 easy slants or drag routes.
Yeah.
Just shallow, just underneath, just go break a tackle.
That was another thing. I even remember screaming this, and I was close enough to the field where I'm like, Russ, they're loading the box. They're putting 8 in the box. Run a slant. Put Jeudy through those linebackers, and you have open space in the corner. So right. I remember saying that, and because you and I are on the same page, Jimmy. It's just that was how it was, and you couldn't be more right. It just you break up when you're when the team's loading the box up like that. It's because we were excelling in the run game, so they are wary of that. And then when you gum up that middle of the 8-man box with the linebackers, they don't have time to react when you have someone like Marvin Mims or Jerry Jeudy crossing through. And then they're 9 times out of 10, they're going to be wide open. You're going to find them wide open in the corner in open space. So
that, or you think about, down in the middle of the field when they're trying to load up the box because Javonte Williams is carrying 6 defenders for 5 yards every play. Yeah. Now you're going to get man coverage, probably press, single high safety on Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims and Jerry Jeudy. Name your 2. You're going to get single coverage where a safety's going to have to pick one. And I'm putting my money on Cortland Sutton to get that jump ball, and I'm putting my money on Jeudy to beat that guy at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
So you're going to get a lot of good opportunities for your receivers, or like you said, throwing them on those cross routes, those drag routes, where they can easily break one tackle and go 60 yards because everybody's in the box.
Yeah. So I'd like to see more of that. It's only been 2 weeks, so I'm really, really trying hard.
Right.
Just put all of my eggs in a basket, as this is just, this is it for the season, because initially I said I had them going 0-3 to start the year, which seems pretty realistic at this point. But I am still steadfast on the idea that we're going to see this team come together and really, really make something special. I'm not saying a deep playoff run. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying we're going to finally see something exciting to watch in Broncos country.
Dude, I actually, just before we came on, I was talking to my wife Draven, and I was telling her, just so far, 2 games this season, I'll take what we've seen this year over the last 6.
Yeah.
So far already.
Yeah. They're exciting to watch.
Obviously take out that 9-7 season in 2016. That obviously was exciting. We were in the hunt at the end of the season, so that's exciting.
We came off a Super Bowl win, so the expectation was
right.
up here,
Right. So, but I will take these last 2 games over anything I can remember seeing the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this
I
was
agree.
competitive football. It was the last play of the game, you
Yeah,
know?
with a Hail Mary pass. That was
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
The other, the other thing about that, dude, I don't want to hold too much on it just because it is week 2. It's a new offense. Judy was open on that 2-point conversion. He was wide open, but
Growing pains.
it's exactly growing pains. It's a new offense. Not going to hold too much on it.
Yeah.
Stevie, we knew this was coming.
Yep.
Obviously, Zach, I thought we would overcome more of this early in the season. I thought we were going to have more of a stretch, in these middle weeks we were going to have some losses. But we knew there was going to be these pains,
Yeah. But I was wrong in the sense that they have looked better than I thought they were going to. So I wasn't 100% right, and I'll admit
Which
that.
real quick, I do want to give pardon my language. I'm sorry.
You're good. We were just
I
talking
want to
about
give
birth certificates.
I want to give Sam Howell a shout out, man. That dude had a hell of a game.
Yeah, he's got that dog in him.
Dude, he looked good. 27 of 39, 300 yards, 2 tutties.
Yeah.
I mean,
good for him.
Seriously. What's his second for sure start? Maybe 3 or 4 total starts. I don't know how many he got last year, but hell of a game. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there real quick. I wanted to give a shout out to the Commanders because, obviously we had our problems on Broncos on defense and offense, but the Commanders had a hell of a game plan, played a hell of a game.
Exactly. And then I want to give a shout out to Hog Farmer Chris. I ran into him at the game. I remember sitting there and I looked over. And for those that don't know, Hog Farmer Chris, he's on TikTok. He's a content creator, sports creator, really good dude. He won Fan of the Year for the Washington Commanders, like recently. So he goes to all the games. Obviously, he travels. So he was. I looked over and he had the signature, fireman's hat with the pig ears and then the pig nose. He had his overalls on, just decked out in Commander stuff, just old hog gear. And I look over and I'm like, I remember talking to my buddy, and I was like, I think I know that guy. I've talked to him before on TikTok. And it turns out I went during halftime, went up, said hi to him. And he's like, "Oh, what's up, man?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do a quick video. Let's do it real fast." So we did a video together, and really cool dude. For those that are on TikTok, go follow Hog Farmer Chris. He's diehard Washington fan since he was a kid. So he's a true one for sure, and really good dude. But yeah, Commanders played great. They were resilient for sure, and I think along with Eric Bieniemy turning that offense around, they're a force to reckon with. They can be a prick in someone's side for sure. And I would love nothing more than to see them be a prick in the Cowboys side, because how much we love the Cowboys in Broncos country. So, but I think that's across the entire NFL is that the Cowboys and the Raiders are just generally hated across the board, which is, I love it. So, but anyways, yeah. Overall, we scored 33 points. I think that's the most points we've scored. I don't even know. I can't remember a time when the Broncos scored that many points. We'd have to look that up because that's interesting to figure out. Definitely has been 2 years in my opinion. But I'm feeling better. I never had the Broncos going into the Super Bowl. That was a bit foolish. But
no, for real.
If we're competing for a wild card spot at the end of the year, that is a major success in my opinion, for sure. So, but we're week 3. We still have 15 weeks to go. So the season's not over. And as much as we would love to have Caleb Williams in Broncos country, it's probably not going to happen, ladies and gents. Like the Arizona Cardinals and probably the New York Giants are battling it out for the first round draft pick this year. So, yeah, I just don't know how realistic it would be to get to expect Caleb Williams. And for those that want Shurter Sanders, I know Anthony's a big Shurter Sanders guy, and so am I. I love Shador. He's awesome. But I don't think he's coming out of the draft this year. I don't know.
I don't think
It's not
so.
like he is. So, but anyways, all things aside.
Why would he? He's making $9 million plus a year.
Exactly.
See out a second season in his dad's program.
Right. And it's going to be a second season with bigger linemen, probably more than likely on the recruitment side, because I don't know if you heard Warren Sapp is coming over and coaching the D line next year. Another Hall of Famer. So recruiting is going to be wild for CU. But anyways, back to the Broncos real fast. It sucks that we lost. We should have won the game, but it's not over. We're on to week 3 against the Dolphins. Three big things, in my opinion, that we need to do to get the win out of Miami. Pressure Tua when he's on the field. Keep Tua off the field. Run the dang ball. Run the dang ball.
I got to answer to your question on the 30-point game.
What's that?
Week 14 of the 2021 season against the Detroit Lions.
How many did we score that game?
38-10.
Wow. So, yeah, 2 years.
You were spot on.
Well, you look back and you try to remember all the exciting games in Broncos country, and they're very limited. So, you date it back. We always refer back to the Manning years. So yeah, we have that going for us. But man, yeah, those are my big three things against Miami this week. Run the dang ball, pressure Tua when he's on the field, keep Tua off the field, and that goes hand in hand with running the ball. Control the clock. We have 3 solid running backs that can carry this offense. And that inherently will open up that passing game for us to get those deep shots to Mims or Judy, or those contested shots with Sutton, or those corner shots with Brandon Johnson, apparently. So,
right. Dude, I have one more I want to bring up about the 30-point games, because I don't know how we forgot about this one. Because there was actually 3 in 2021 with 3 30-point games.
Okay.
The absolute slaughter we put on the Dallas Cowboys that year.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, that was beautiful.
30-16.
Honestly, that was an exciting game. I remember I was actually at work watching that because I was working weekends at the time. Yeah, that was amazing. I loved that.
It's always glorious. Always glorious to beat the Cowboys.
That was probably the best game the Broncos had in a while. Probably still is, in my opinion. I don't know what game surpasses that one, but that was awesome. But yeah, those are my big 3 things, Jimmy. So, what are your thoughts about Miami and Mike McDaniel and his mastermind game planning and all that stuff?
I mean, keyword fast. All around, offense and defense. That team can fly. Whether it's the receivers, running backs, D-line, O-line on screen games, they can move. That's kind of the biggest thing about the Dolphins that is going to be, or the hardest thing to overcome, is the sheer speed. I do kind of see. I see a way that the Broncos can put up points on their defense. They seem to have a lack of a pass rush, kind of similar as us. Um, they do seem to stunt a lot better and blitz a lot better than us. They make up for it in better ways.
Well, they have Vic
But
Fangio too, remember?
right. So they make up for it in a lot better ways. But I think the way they play defense and the way they blitz, it's a lot of inside out. I think it plays to Russell Wilson's game. Um, so I think that's another key is Russell Wilson's legs. I think are going to be very important this weekend. Him being able to move, getting out of the pocket, and also with that being said, is plays drawn up to move the pocket.
Yeah.
Get Russ into an open throwing lane. And then something we've already talked about, the running game. We need to see more of a closer to a 50% split. Whether it's 55, 45, one way or the other, it's got to be closer to 50%. We need to hammer the ball. If Javonte was averaging 3.5 yards a carry on only 12 carries. So, I mean, it's not a large sample size, but 3.5 yards a carry, that's a first down every 3 carries.
Yeah.
I mean, give the guy the ball.
I think we could get that too. I think we could run up and down the field with a healthy Javonte Williams, a Samaje Perine, and then throwing out halfback tosses to McLaughlin, to kind of spice it up a bit. So
right. Their defense it seems to be set up right now very similarly to how ours is. They've got pretty solid secondary. They've got decent linebackers that can move. They'll make some tackles, but they'll make mistakes. And a D line that needs help. Needs help getting pressure.
Yeah, we're going to see a familiar face too with Bradley Chubb. So,
and they are not happy with him out there in Miami.
No,
not at all.
No. So,
is it too soon to say I told you so?
Yeah. Bottom line up front, the team is beatable.
They are, for sure.
Yeah, they're beatable. I know there's a lot of hype surrounding the Dolphins right now, but they're beatable. It's still early in the season.
I think if our offense performs the way it did this weekend and includes some more running game, which I think honestly could add up to some more points than what we did. I mean, we've left 10 points on the table, I think, out there. I mean, easily we could have been into the 40-point range there. But if our offense plays similarly to the way they did last week, and we get a shell of our defense from last year, dude, we're winning this game.
Yeah.
Like, if our defense shows up, we can score with this team. We proved last week we can score consistently.
If our defensive coordinator also chooses to have a more aggressive approach too, I think we can win this game.
That's a better way to put it.
So, with all that being said, what is your score prediction?
Haven't even given a thought to a score prediction. But as I've been saying, I mean, I can see this being, with the way our defense has been playing, the way their defense has been playing, how our offense looked last week, man, I could see this game kind of getting up into the higher score. But I do think we're going to kind of revert back to what we've been doing and not really showing up in the late third quarter, fourth quarter. Let's put it like 35-28. I think we're going to put up a pretty good showing. Like, I don't think we're going to come out of this game disappointed. I think we're going to obviously just be disappointed because we lost, but I think we're going to be kind of feeling the same way as we do right now. As there's a lot of really good things that came from that. And if it goes the way I think, we obviously don't want to take any moral victories, but if it goes the way I think, a 35-28 score, I mean, that Miami team is going to be a team contending.
Yeah.
In the playoffs for sure. Right now, in my mind.
You know what my gut is telling me, Jimmy? My gut is telling me I think we're going to get blown out in the first half.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a slow start. I think it's going to be 20+ point to 3 after the first half.
Like a 21-24-3 type of thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that because, like I said earlier in this podcast, we always struggle on the East Coast with those 11 o'clock games.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be what happens with the Broncos. I know this is a different team. This is a different whatever based off of history. But for some reason, that's always just followed the Broncos ever since I've been watching them. So I think it's going to be an ugly first half. I do think the Broncos come out the third and fourth quarter, and they get up to that 20+ point region, but it's going to be too late.
Yeah, too little, too late.
Miami wins 38-21, in my opinion.
But I think if I remember correctly, though, when we were going through the schedule, this is where you had us starting to kind of make that turnaround. You know,
no, it was next week against the Bears.
Okay.
So
well, I mean, second half putting up 20 points. I mean, that might be a good lead into a solid.
We're figuring out the puzzle. We're finding the corner pieces, and once we have all 4 corner pieces put in, we're good. First half team, we've proved that. Okay, there's that corner. Okay, we're a good second half team, but we're not. We struggled in the first half of that game, but we know we can be a good first half team. Here's this corner. Okay, we know we can trust Javonte Williams now with his injury in our running game. Here's this corner. Okay, we figured it out on defense. We know who we are as a defense. Vance Joseph puts a little bit more trust and is a little bit more aggressive and uncomfortable with he allows himself to be uncomfortable with his game planning and shows more aggression. Here's the other corner piece. And after that, the whole puzzle comes together. And I think we're going to see it week 4 against the Bears.
I like it.
I think that if this game was at home at 2:25, I'd be more inclined to say that we figured out this game. But it's in Miami. It's 11 o'clock. I think we need humid. Yes, the weather's going to be terrible. Going from this nice fall, brisk weather that we've been having to just swamp. It sucks.
Yeah, I think this is a game. I don't know if we talked about it last week or if maybe we talked about it off air, but how our screen game has just not been working. It's not been efficient.
You need to cut it out. I'm tired of the screen game, bro.
This might be the week that we could utilize it, though. I feel like Vic Fangio is gonna get real aggressive, and it might be effective to use here, but I think we need to cut it down a lot. Like
I'm all for it. I just haven't seen a working screen game for the Broncos since Demaryius Thomas.
Well, and I think the reason is I haven't seen a coach in Denver try to set a screen game up. It almost seems like the best way I could describe it was the very first play, was it last year, the Noah Fant fucking tight end screen.
Oh, God, I hated that.
I feel like we just come out on first down and throw a screen.
Yeah.
You need to set those plays up. You can't just run a play just to run a play. We all know that. We've all played Madden.
They're using coach suggestion in Madden. Ugh, yeah. That makes me sick just thinking about that. Hey, man, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If it works, cool. Finally, we have a screen game that's effective. But it's just about getting the right players out there, like Marvin Mims, And he
needs to be on the field, man.
And we have people committed to blocking. People committed fully to sacrificing their bodies to make sure that there's an open lane for Marvin Mims to run through. Because that's been another thing, is that we just haven't had a commitment like that in a long time. So,
and these young receivers, man, they want to block.
Yeah.
Dude, they want to win. These kids, dude, they want to win. And that's where I think George Payton and Sean Payton hit the most on this draft, was drafting guys that just
Winners.
They're winners, man. They hate losing. They're going to give everything they have just to win. Whether it be, even if it means I'm going to go be outside the numbers and I'm going to run 60, sprints just straight down the field all game as a distraction. Yeah, I feel like this class is willing to do it. They're willing. They're bought in.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. So yeah, back to the score predictions. I don't think this is the week. The Broncos go out there and steal a dub in Miami. Like that's huge. That shocked the NFL for sure. And you best believe that whole week, every news source is like Sean Payton's back, Russ is back, blah 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 blah. Their defense is back. You'd hear all about it. I don't think. Go ahead.
Can you believe, dude? I don't know if you've been seeing it. The hate Russ is still getting.
Oh yeah.
Like he's had two great. I mean, one good game, one great game this season. He's almost top 5 in every passing category.
Statistically, he's a top 10 quarterback right now.
Right. And people are still just it makes me angry. I'm sorry. I tried to throw that out there. It pisses me off.
I think it's carryover from last year. It's carryover from his personality, all that stuff. So he's just going to have to be consistent. But that's the least of his concern. Like,
no, I don't think it phases him.
Yeah, who cares what people are saying about him at this point? He's just going to do the talking on the field, and it's up to him.
Hey, Russ knows he's got the couch potato boys defending him out there.
Yes, exactly. Like I will have faith in Russ. We need to have faith in Russ if we want a successful football team, because he's not going anywhere. He's not. I mean, he could go somewhere after this year, but this year Russ is our quarterback, Broncos country.
Until he is off of our roster, I believe in him.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, I still believe in Drew Lock. That's another podcast.
Drew Lock got. I was a huge. You can ask Anthony. I was a huge Drew Lock fan. Yeah,
my wife will tell you.
Yeah,
dude, I had the biggest man crush on him,
but
he just needs an opportunity.
Yeah,
let's keep going.
But yeah, nonetheless, Broncos lose out in Miami. That's my prediction. Anthony said that they lose 34-17. He just wanted me to throw that out there. I know Anthony's a salty dog right now, but that's why we love Anthony. He's the salt dog for sure.
He brings the heat.
He brings the heat for sure. But yeah,
we didn't get a prediction out of Kenneth, but I know he did have it as an L in our predictions.
Yeah,
and we're all across the board. We were getting L's.
Yeah, which is fine. It's fine. Come week 4, though, that's when things start changing.
Right.
So,
well, this is why
the dumpster fire in Chicago that's going on. So,
right. Well, this is why, like last week when Anthony asked the question, "Is this a must-win game?" To answer that question, you have to answer: do you believe this is a playoff team? Do you believe we're making the playoffs? Which, to me, the answer was never. We were never going to make the playoffs this year. That's why this game was never a must-win game. But it was a must show up game. It was the way that they played. That had to happen. Mm-hmm. They couldn't go out there and shit the bed.
Exactly. And for me, this year, honestly, this year for me is just establishing a culture, a winning culture, getting these players used to feeling what it feels like to win, bringing in a new class and really just having Sean Payton take over the reins and make this his football team. Right. And like I said, if we're competing for a wild card spot at the end of the year, that's a huge success for me.
Dude, even if even if we're talking about week 12, 13, and we're still talking about being in the hunt, man, like
Yeah,
I'll be excited
we're not
about
out by
that.
November, so
Right.
um, improvements, Broncos country. Just got to be patient. It's not going to – this isn't Coach Prime, like I said in the last podcast. Sean Payton didn't bring over the 2017, 2016 New Orleans Saints to play for him, Drew Brees and company. That's not how this works in the NFL. So,
Right. But one thing we can confidently say is this is moving in the right direction.
So far, yeah.
Since the Walter Penner Group bought this team, it's been moving in the right direction.
Exactly.
The decisions seem to be the right ones.
Exactly. So far so good. I think it's going to look a little sloppy next week, but there's other factors in play there that this team needs to get used to and overcome. But with time, they will overcome them once they have a winning culture surrounding them and they get more pieces of the puzzle. But they find all four corners of that puzzle I was talking about.
You know what, bro? I agree. Screw everything we just said. The defense figured out Vance Joseph's philosophy this week, and we're about to school them.
52
we're going to town, baby. We're putting up 60, baby.
We're having another Dallas Cowboy game. but yeah, man, which is fine. I'm still gonna sit here and watch it. I'm still gonna be cheering them on, hoping for the best, hoping for a dub. But like we laid out earlier, that in our opinion, that's what we think it's what's going to take to win this football game. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's too outlandish of an opinion. Run the ball, pressure Tua, keep Tua off the field. And that goes.
I don't think it's too crazy at all.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand with running the ball because when you establish a good running game, you control the clock. If you can control the clock, you can control the game. Mm-hmm. You decide the outcome. More likely, more often than not. So, but it's easier said than done. So
exactly,
you got to go out there and produce. But
especially with a team where obviously clock management is very, very important in most games.
Yes.
But a team like the Dolphins, I mean, when they could score on any play.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that about every team, but that's a team that can truly score on any given play.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, controlling the narrative of the game, is very important, and hopefully we're able to either get the ball first and go down and put up points, or give them a 3 and out right away, get a sack, get Tua shooken up early.
Yep, I agree, man. Hey, real quick, kind of shifting gears here. Do the Buffs pull out the upset?
I think they do, man.
I think so too. I'm riding that train.
I think CSU. All kudos, bro. All kudos to CSU. They played a hell of a game. Do not like that kid that hit Travis Hunter. I don't like the way the kid hit Travis Hunter. I'm not going to say I don't like him. I don't know him. I will never say that about another human being that I do not know. I don't like the play. I think he should have been ejected from the game based on what I've seen in other games.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
But I think that game, there was a lot of emotion. There's a lot of rivalry going on there, and I think that's the only reason it was the way it was. I think CU's gonna really, really impress people. But I think it's going to take a hell of a defensive performance, man. They're going to have to find a way to make some stops that they really haven't been able to do this year much.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some digging down deep. But if there's a coach that can do it, it's Coach Prime.
If there's anybody that can get somebody to go run through a brick wall, that's him. Did you see that story that came out about the receiver, having a bad game, and Deion basically pulled him to the side, said, Horn, pulled him to the side, gave him a hug, told him, you're a dog, bro.
He said, because
there was more to it about his dad, right?
His dad went to prison, And his dad asked Coach Prime if he could look over him and make him into a man while he was away. And Coach Prime said, I got you. I'll take care of him. Don't worry. And so, yeah, he pulled him off to the side and he's like, hey, man. He's like, you're good. He's like, your dad, he's looking over you. He's proud of you. You're going to get this. You're going to win. You're going to do great things. And he just pulled him in. And then he got the game winner or the game time or overtime, whatever.
And the best part about that, Matt, is just based on everything you've seen from Prime, not only with the Buffs, but through the media, through TV. That's just who he is, man. I believe he would do that for not only anybody on that team, but anybody on that campus if they saw him. I believe Prime would do the same thing. I think just walking through life, that's just who Prime is, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people just buy into him so much. He's so authentic.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. So,
and he's a fucking dog.
I know. I think we're gonna walk into Eugene, Oregon, and I think we're gonna come out with the dub. I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it, man. I don't know what it is, but it's manifesting into something great.
Does that get us top 10? Are we top 10 if we beat Oregon? Or are we top 12?
Is Oregon 13 right now?
Oregon's 10 right now.
10? Yeah. Because there's so many ranked teams in the top 15 playing each other this week. And this is actually courtesy of a buddy of mine. He sent me this. There are so many top 10 ranked teams playing each other this week. It's going to get shaken up for sure. If CU beats Oregon on Saturday, CU will be a top 10 team. And I will go out on a limb and say if CU goes out and steals one from USC, they're a top 5 team.
100%. Hands down. No doubt in my mind.
So, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You're right, man. You've got
in Oregon.
Right. You got Mississippi, Alabama playing each other, UCLA, Utah, Oregon State, Washington State, Iowa, Penn State. Yeah, there's a lot of Ohio State, Notre Dame. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ranked teams playing each other that really can just shake things up. And if Colorado pulls out the upset, they'll be a top.
Especially if they find a way to go out there and dominate.
Yeah. So any team's beatable. We've seen it so many times.
What's Oregon's deal? I know they got, what is it, Bo Nix?
Yeah, Bo Nix.
They've got a good quarterback. You know much about him? The team.
So Oregon has 2 stud wide receivers. I think number 15 and number 11. I can't remember their names. Their running back is solid. The running game. What he likes to do is that I think it was number 15. I'm just going off of numbers right now because I can't remember the names. Number 15, he's kind of used as like a feint, and then it draws number 11 open. So he'll do that a lot. And then their secondary is pretty solid. They have a big linebacker, 55. He's definitely a dog on that defense. But after watching Oregon, man, like they're beatable. They are a beatable team, and
definitely a tough week to be missing Travis Hunter on defense, man.
It is tough. It is tough, but who knows? Maybe we'll see that 5-star corner come out. I think you were talking about that. Were you talking about that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
hey, man, they got Dion back there too. He's been making some hell of plays, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Plays like Dion.
Sucks not having Travis Hunter, but Oregon's beatable. They are. You got to pressure Bo Nix though, and that's something we struggle with is pressuring the quarterback. So we got to find a way.
That's something like you mentioned earlier. Warren Sapp joining the the coaching staff come 2024.
Yeah.
And not only just because of that, but going into the second season of Deion Sanders, dude, these 5-star recruits are calling him. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. All right. Oh, wait,
He might not even have to recruit, man. He might not have to recruit.
I know. I mean, they're going to want to come play with Warren Sapp or Coach Prime or any of the other coaching staff that he hired on, you know?
If you're a 17, 18-year-old, 6'5", 270-pound dude, like, do you want to go play for Warren Sapp or some random schmuck that may or may not have played football?
Do you want to go? Do you want to go to a school surrounded by trees and swamp, or do you want to come to Boulder, where you have a gorgeous mountain view, you have seasons, you know, and you have Coach Prime as your coach? What sounds better? Let's be real.
Listen, he's gonna buy you some sunglasses, bro.
Exactly. You're gonna get a pair of shades. You know, you're gonna meet Lil Wayne. You're gonna meet The Rock.
You're going to get an NIL deal.
You're gonna get a pretty nice NIL deal. You're gonna maybe meet Tom Brady because he hangs out with Shadur. So, hey,
and Shadur, man, he's gonna be good when he comes out.
He ain't hard to find,
right?
He's in Boulder, Colorado.
Shadur, though, man, dude, that kid, he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah, that drive, 98-yard drive, that was
dude. Just watching him, the way he plays, dude, he plays such a pro, like he plays such a pro style of quarterback, dude, where it's completely pass first, go through your progressions. He's gonna be a stud in the NFL.
I think so too. Maybe he's wearing orange and blue.
I hope so.
I know.
Maybe we got Coach Prime with an OC tag on his name.
I think he'd want to be the HC, if I'm being honest with you.
But I don't know, the way Prime's been talking about Boulder and Colorado and how he feels like this is his calling of life. Yeah. I mean, he's talking about it like it's his calling of life. Like he figured out this is why God sent him to Earth, was to be here in Boulder.
Yeah.
You know, when you speak like that, I mean, plus, as we know, when players come to Denver, they don't leave.
Yeah.
They may get traded. They may go play for another team afterwards, but they're coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Von Miller will forever be a Bronco. So
absolutely.
He still loves the Broncos. He still refers when he's talking about the Broncos, he says we, you know.
Right. I still wish we would have found a way. I'm sure he would have. We don't need to get into the revisionist history, but we know there was a way.
He will forever be in our hearts, okay? And he'll have his Ring of Fame and Hall of Fame ceremony wearing the orange and blue for sure. So
right next to God, why am I blanking? DeMarcus Ware with his orange and blue jersey.
Oh yeah.
That kills me. His orange and blue jersey in the Hall of Fame.
I know. That's okay because screw the Cowboys.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a Super Bowl jersey.
Exactly.
But it's just another zinger to the Cowboys.
But hey, man, you have any final thoughts about the Broncos before we head out?
Man, I just hope we show up again. You know, even if it's another, maybe not even necessarily a close game, just show up, be competitive, play hard. I don't want, play smart. Let's get some clean football out there. Let's not kill ourselves. If we're going to lose, let's lose because they're the better team.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, man, just go Broncos, man. We're, 16-2 until proven otherwise.
Exactly. Exactly.
What you got?
What's up?
So what you got? What you got for the final thoughts there?
I know I said, and this just from the gut feeling, that we're going to have a slow start because I truly believe that's what's going to happen, and that the game is going to be out of reach for us, and then we're going to come out in the second half, put up some points. But I'm still going to be hopeful that we establish that running game early. We give Javonte Williams more than 12 carries. And we just control the clock. We control the tempo, the momentum of that football game. Keep Tua off the field. And then when he gets on the field, make Tua uncomfortable.
Keep Tua off the field, and when he's on the field, keep him on the field, literally, like on the turf. Back on the turf.
Exactly. Just close the pocket around him, force him away from Waddle and Hill.
I don't know if they got dirt out there, but I want to see a mud clump in the face mask.
Exactly. There's nothing more mentally destroying than the mud clump in your face mask. But
I used to love
it. Exactly.
Live for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Those are my big things. I'm really hopeful. I'm going to be watching. Not going to let it bring me down because at the end of the day, this is what I thought was going to happen. But, of course, I want them to come out of Miami 1-2. Always. I always hope for the best for the Broncos. So, but, hey, with that being said, man, I think we're going to end it here. Stuff. So, Jimmy, always, man, thank you so much for dedicating your time to doing this podcast. Really
always, brother.
For all those that are listening, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for listening to us just blab like we're at the bar, talking about the Broncos and CU as well. It's exciting. Football is still here. It's back. I still love every second of it. But let's hope for the Broncos dub. CU's going to win. CU's going to win. I'm feeling it. The Buffs are going to upset the Ducks.
It's going to be a good weekend, baby.
Over Ducks, okay? So,
it's going to be a great weekend.
Yes, it is. But, Jimmy, thanks again, man. I appreciate you.
Always.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos, baby.
Good night, guys. Thank you.